I'm David Mason. I'm the Director of Public Health for the town of Sandwich, and we're doing public service announcement number 11 on the 21st of April. Today we're going to have a discussion with Dave DeConto of the Natural Resource Department. He's the Director of the Natural Resource Department, and Guy Boucher, who is the Director of the Rec Department. But as always, we're going to start with Chief Burke for an update on where we stand relative to the coronavirus.
Thank you, Dave. April 21st, today, we have 8 positive cases, 45 recoveries, and unfortunately 2 deaths. So we're still on the downward trajectory, as you see on the chart there. And we are in single digits for cases, but again, we still need to maintain the social distancing and all of the items that we've recommended moving forward. We do have 3 citizens that are still hospitalized, and again, the age range was 21 to 92 in terms of positive cases. And just to update folks on the restoration of government, we are working on that. We have a separate team with a multi-phase opening. May 19th is the election. We asked that, if possible, if you could do mail-in voting for that. We are looking at PPE for our poll workers, but if more people can do mail-in voting, that'll be less we have to worry about for PPE for our staff on voting day. And we're looking at June 15th town meeting also. We're in the planning stages for that, of how we will execute town meeting in June, and that's it.
So more information will be coming on the voting issue and how that'll be handled.
That's correct.
Okay. Just a quick thing too, because I know there's a number of people out there, just from my observations, that don't feel the need as far as wearing a facial covering or a mask. And we want to point out that the chart that was up there, the reason for that decline is 1 is social distancing, and 2 because of wearing a facial covering. And as we proceed, and as Chief Burke had spoken to opening up government operations, as we look at potentially for the state to open up, it'll still be critical to wear a facial covering. It's not to protect you, it's to protect someone else from you potentially giving it to you, giving it to them. It doesn't protect you, it just stops what you're emitting and holds it in place so that no one else can breathe that in. And it's important to realize that. And it's not about social, personal freedom or liberties. It's about being considerate of the people that are around you and being conscious of that. With that, we're going to bring in the Director of Recreation, Guy, and as far as what he is offering, as far as with what we have going on, people stuck in the house, what is Recreation doing, Guy, the Recreation Department doing to support the community?
So good morning, everybody. So the Recreation Department team, we've all been home with you guys as well. And one thing we've been trying to do is on a daily basis put out a video or a clip or a challenge on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our residents to get involved in. And some of it is geared towards youth and kids, but we've also had some of our awesome instructors, our yoga instructor and dance instructors, put out some videos and some content to get you, for adults and to get moving. Starting yesterday, in honor of Patriots Day and the marathon, we put out a marathon challenge for you to walk or run or bike or whatever, 26 miles from yesterday until, and you have till next Monday. And then post it on the Sandwich Rec Facebook page, what you've done every day, or when you complete that challenge. So again, you could take it in little chunks, or try and do it all once, but just remember your social distancing, but you can still get outside and you can still be active.
As far as what are some of the things they can do to stay active as we social distance? And this kind of ties into probably what some of Dave DeConto has too with regards to his rec property also, but what are you suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, we're really looking at, everybody's different. Not everybody likes to do yoga, not everybody likes to, go on walks, but, maybe you like to bird watch. So get out with a pair of binoculars and start taking that time that you have now and start bird watching, cataloging what you see. getting out on a different trail and just as, or a different beach. But, you know, if you pull in the parking lot and it's full or the beach is crowded, go somewhere else, especially here in Sandwich. There's, and Dave, I won't steal Dave's thunder, but there's tons of places to go that you may not even know, and there's great resources to find those places. You know, and just get out there. There are so many free resources right now at your fingertips on the internet for different activities, or even just post into us at the record department. And if you have an idea or you say, hey, I don't like yoga, I don't like doing this, what can I do? You know, try something out, try something else new, or think back to when you said, you know, if I only had a little bit more time, I would do this, you know? I've taken up, you know, gardening and you know, I have some trees and, you know, pruning trees and doing that kind of stuff and getting outside. So, you know, really kind of find your niche and trying something different.
I think you need to start the tomato challenge,
Yeah, right.
as far as with people starting gardening and see, you know, like the Barnstable County Fair has
Right.
the judging of the vegetables. Now you can judge them online or something like
Yeah.
that.
They should be putting your peas and your potatoes and things like that in right now.
All right. As far as your programs are very well known, and as is your staff also. How's your staff doing?
Yeah, so we meet daily on a Zoom meeting, just like a lot of everybody else has been doing, and everybody's doing well. We're eager to get back to work. We're eager to get back serving our community. As everybody else, we're hoping for the best, planning for the worst. So, you know, we're gearing up for summer. We're gearing up for our programs. You know, we run some of the programs at the beaches, the gate attendants and the lifeguards. We run the Hoxie House in Gristmill, summer camp, and then the various summer programs. So, you know, we're looking at everything, following the guidance of our professionals, and then we're also coming up with plans. You know, if we can have a traditional camp season or program season, we're coming up with plans to help our citizens and our people in our town to stay engaged and stay active.
And we really won't know how that washes out until the governor communicates that beyond the May 4th opening. So it's really just kind of sit tight, but you're making plans otherwise at this point, which is for option A or option B, really. Right. So that's good. As far as everybody drives by and sees, can see what's going on with the construction of the skate park, how's that going?
So the New Line Skate Parks has been, had a crew of about 5 or 6 members down there the last few weeks. They're making steady progress. The goal for them was to be done mid-May. That might be pushed out a little bit, especially because the weather hasn't been cooperative either. But they are still making progress. They're complying with, you know, everything that they need to with COVID-19 as far as construction goes, but they're getting work done. So we're looking forward to having a new park here open, this summer.
Yep, so it's something to look forward to. It reminds me of the ad for, maybe it's Advil, where the 70-year-old guy is on the skateboard, cutting it up out there. We'll see who wants to reach that challenge and head out there to try it out this summer at some point when it opens. So that's great. Thank you, Guy. Dave, you're as far as, just let me back up. But the guy has some of the toughest challenge for programs, because we understand that those programs benefit there's a double benefit here as far as the programs. It's activities for the kids to continue in their community with their friends during the summer, and it also allows for parents who are employed an opportunity to put their kids in a great program, but at the same time to work. And we understand those challenges that exist out there, and what, you know, I know people are anxious to find out what direction that's going to go, and as are we. And as soon as that information's available, we'll provide that information, you know, a better idea for your planning purposes too. But as far as Dave, the next thing coming up is what the season is. Your group has been monitoring the beaches and the recreation areas. What are you finding out there? Because there seems to be a lot of activity.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Good morning, everyone. There's been a lot of activities out there. The natural resource officers are out checking all the beaches, the trails, parking lots, And we find that most people are following the social distancing. We did have a little bit of an incident last week on Town Neck Beach where one of the guys asked a group of 8 people to disperse and only one person wouldn't. He finally left after, I guess, his wife convinced him to. Most people seem to be doing the right thing, which is good to see. We're very happy that all the conservation lands are open for hiking, trail walking, walking your dog. But if you do walk your dog, please have your leash with you. The leash law in town is not such that the dog has to be on the leash all the time, but you're supposed to have the leash with you if you need to put the dog under control, and you're supposed to have some waste disposal way to pick up the waste. And please do not leave the waste at the gate, hanging on the gate. Use a trash barrel if there's one in the parking lot. If not, use the old Boy Scout code, take out what you bring in. But for the most part, we've been seeing people following the rules, which is nice to see because we're very happy that they can get out and use the properties.
Well, to point out, there are many of us, that keep riding by to monitor what's going on down at those facilities. Chief Burke goes down there, and in the police, and we're regularly monitoring that as a U. And again, that goes back to originally when we had discussed that the use of these facilities can continue, but it's depending upon how people use them. If they're being used responsibly, we can keep them open. If we're finding that it becomes a challenge, ultimately, they're going to be closed. So it comes back, it's really the public's decision how this is going to go down, as far as can they use it responsibly or not. And so we'll go from there. There's a great trail system in town here, and as far as for walking trails in many of the conservation areas. Can you talk about that and how they can get more information on that?
Sure. Well, if you look up at the screen, you'll see the Natural Resources Department, the website information, and you'll see over to the right, Avenza Maps. Last year, my department spent the entire year mapping all the major trails in town, and if you want to know where those are, go to the website and take a look. You can also, when you pull up to the major properties, most of the parking lots where the trailheads are, you'll see a kiosk with the Avenza Maps information on it. You can download it on your phone, you can take a picture of the map, you can take it off our website, but it's a very neat tool that you can follow yourself around. You can use it on airplane mode on your phone, and it won't use your data. It'll show you exactly where you are in the trails. Most of our trails are fairly simple. This is really important when you're in Maple Swamp because even I get confused in Maple Swamp. So we did the maps as well as some very neat signage up there. It's very well traveled now. We've worked cooperatively with the New England Mountain Bike Club. They now have their own dedicated trails. There are walking trails for some people, mountain bike trails for others. And I'll throw this over to Guy. We had a collaboration with his department where we had a brand new after-school program behind the Oak Ridge School where there's a beginner mountain bike trail, and we're going to improve that over the years.
Oh, fabulous.
So we've sort of been able to, the idea when we came up with this mapping was to take a look and see how many users can we get onto the properties that will respect the property and work with us, and it's been a really nice opening up, and people have said, oh, I didn't even know that property was there, or we could walk here or do that. So the two gems I would say that we probably want to look at is you've seen that we put a brand new parking lot in Cook Farm. It's a nice little walking trail around the Upper Shawm Pond, and it's also a great fishing spot. Actually, it's my fishing spot when I was a kid, so it kind of hits me home there. So if you have never gone up there fishing or taken a kayak or a canoe, obviously following the social distancing, you can follow the signs up there. Some really good pickerel fishing, bass fishing in there. The other spot is we just improved the parking lot at Talbot's Point. We tripled the size of it because of the amount of usage. And we opened up a new trail to the new cranberry bogs that we now own. We're going to call it the Cranberry Trail that goes down. You can actually see the cranberry bogs down there.
Oh, fabulous. So there's really some nice areas to go out and explore, the opportunity to get outside and spend some time with your family out doing that. So that's great, Dave. You've had some challenges over time, but just dogs and animals as far as, and then how does that relate to what's going on with COVID-19?
Well, right now, all the information that we've been able to get says that you cannot give it to your dogs and your dogs can't give it to you. And I know that that is a moving target, but that's what the best information we've received from our national organization. And the the webinars we've been able to take and keep updated on this. The issue pretty much comes in with us is if we have an emergency call and we have to go out to a property because it's emergency, there's a dog bite or something, there's a lot of precautions that our officers have to watch out for. So it's really curtailed us down to doing emergencies called only. So if we have those little type of interactions, the best thing for people to do is not call the animal control officer if you don't really need them for an emergency. Go to our website, look up our information. We're responding to emails, we're responding to telephone calls, and we could probably handle it that way.
Okay, and it's good to know, if you know your pet, everybody's familiar with their pet, don't put them in situations that are gonna create a problem. We don't need those problems at this time, so.
Again, I would just remind everybody that there's a little misunderstanding of the leash law. We do not have a leash law that says the dog has to be on the leash all the time. I'm a big believer that if you're in a wide open area, you can let the dog run free, but be smart about it. Bring your leash with you. If you have other people on the trail, put the dog on the leash, unless you're one of those rare dogs that you can call over and say heel, and they heel within 3 feet of you. Just be smart about it.
So that's another thing about being considerate of the other people around you. It's a common word, I guess, but Dave, is shell fishing still open? Where is
Shell
it?
fishing is open every Sunday through to the end of May. Even up to a couple of weeks ago, they were still getting some oysters. I know the guys that have been doing it are very excited about it. It's one of those activities that you spread out, social distance enough, everybody can have a good time. It's like fishing in general. Fishing is really an individual sport where you can be with a group, but you can get far enough away where it's individual as well.
Very good. All right. So do you have anything you want to add on, Guy? Oh,
No, I think just, taking that time and finding that niche for yourself to do something different, keep your mind active and keep your body active. That's what's important throughout this whole process.
all right, Chief Burke?
I was just going to highlight the mapping system, showing the interagency cooperation. That mapping system benefits us greatly. When we have wildfires, now we have access straight from our smartphone that we can look at the trails. So again, there's a secondary benefit for the fire department, and we appreciate it.
I mean, I imagine access to people, too, if something were to occur in there
Correct.
also.
Yeah, it's a real big benefit for public safety, so thank you.
That's fabulous. All right, so we're going to wrap up to that today. Thank you very much, Guy and Dave DeCanto, for providing us with information and ideas that you can do around town and how to keep yourselves and mind and body healthy. So we thank you again, and we just advise as we're going forward, let's mask up, use the facial covering, and be smart and considerate of people around you. Thank you.